basswood. I used to go get it from my grandma, my parents, my mother especially. She used a lot of that. And I did the hard part. I harvested. And I cleaned it. And after I got it home, my mother's was, this was used for also for, where's my, fiber, that's what fiber. What, yeah.
For latching. What else did it was used for? You know, I want to clarify something when I talked with Howard this morning about it, because I've never used this before, so I was getting a quick teaching on this basswood fiber, and he had mentioned that, you know, it was a woman's job. And I want people to understand when we say woman's job, it's not derogatory. It meant that in our lifestyle, there were things that men did and there were things that women did, and that's balance. That's how you survive. And Howard spoke very respectfully when he said, well, the women, you know, it was their job. He said, my grandmother was in charge of telling us what to do. So it was, I guess people don't, sometimes when they hear women's work, and it kind of like, when I was young, that used to rankle me when I hear that, and be like, what's that mean? You know, but now as I get older and I begin to understand it, I begin to see that we all have roles in our lifestyle, and it's not derogatory in that way, unless someone's meaning it to sound derogatory. I think that's kind of when I would, you know, the hairs would rustle up. But he spoke very, very, very politely, very respectfully, bringing up good memories of his grandmother when he talked about this basswood fiber. So I want to clarify that first of all. When something is maybe designated as a man's job or a woman's job, it was just instructions were given to them. It's how we lived and how we kept balance with things. So. With the basswood fiber, he asked me to speak on it because it was something that the women were in charge of. We'll switch it that way. And it was used for a variety of things to latch the wigwam.
Yep.
You latched the wigwam with it. As a matter of fact, he was talking about creating a lodge, which I'm actually very interested in seeing go on. And it's been dyed, but he used a regular dye, I would say, a long time ago. When you try to think of what kind of dyes would they have used?
Birch.
Birch? They would use birch.
Berries.
Yeah, maybe berries, yeah. So, but right now in today's modern conveniences, he used dye for that. So
Walmart special.
there we go. It's always good to us. A long time ago, I remember a guy talking out at the Indian school saying, he was talking about new songs. He said, we always remember the old, but we also have to have new. So that's kind of what we do, is we walk in both worlds as Native Americans. We remember the teachings like Howard is giving, but we also use things like dye from Walmart. You know, we walk in two worlds. Camera phones. Yeah. Along with oral, we now have camera phones that we can do. So I'm going to send it back to Howard.
Last year's harvest, because birch bark is not ready to be harvested yet. It's still too cold out. This is what it looks like this time of the year. It's not ready yet to be harvested. And the second you start cutting birch bark, just a little slice, it'll come off by itself. It'll just definitely come off by itself without even working. It's not much work. You know, I've done a lot of this, and usually the second week in June is the best time. And I usually just cut a little slice about that long on the tree to find out if it's moisture in between the tree and this. It's got to be wet on one side. See, this was wet on one side here. This was dry. So you could tell the difference. So when you start doing this, you know, if it's all wet, just slice it. If you're just beginning, don't slice it all the way down because you're going to ruin the tree. And don't cut too deep, you're still going to ruin the tree. I only cut just a little. Not too much, not too deep. I only cut a little bit.
So will that grow back then?
Yes, I've shown people how to. I've harvested birch bark last year where it was cut maybe 20 years ago. The tree was still good.
Yeah, so I didn't know that.
Yeah, people and DNR usually tell me, don't cut too, you're gonna ruin all them trees.
Just don't cut too deep.
Yeah.
Do it right.
Yeah, right, DNR.
Yeah. The way my uncle always told me when you're cutting, he says if you cut to the point where the tree looks like it's bleeding, So there's a red inside of there. So this yellow here is soft, that's light, right? And and on the flip side of it, there's that other yellow, and that's that space that you
when
know. Past that is real dark red.
Sometimes when you're out there, sometimes you're looking at something that you're always leaving something behind, you know. Like you could thin it out as you go. A lot of people use this too for art. Okay, don't throw anything away. You know, some people might not like when I go out in the woods, I usually carry a lighter and a knife. It's the safest thing I could do. When you start dig in there. Put your blade away, always. That's fresh. We could still do it with that last year's harvest, and it's very workable when it's this thin, and you could still feel the moisture on one side. See? And probably we won't finish what we started today, so tomorrow we'll be doing it again. Okay? If you're not too happy with today, if you're not finished with, I'll give you another day. You know, I don't like to leave anybody they're gonna go away mad if we just quit today, right? And also, sometimes see, I saved this last year. When you look through the bark there, you'll see. Sometimes you'll see birds designed here. See, sometimes people come around and ask me for old bark like this, and they say that they sell it for art. You know, like this. Sometimes you'll see bird shapes on the bark. So, yeah. You know, I did that for so long. You know what happened to my finger?
That's what I was looking at. I was wondering how you did it.
Okay, so today, if you want to do it again in 2 weeks, I'll do it for free in 2 weeks with this fresh birch bark. But today you'll get a pretty good idea what's going on. Okay. Like I said, I always carry a knife with me. Usually I cut it at an angle like this.
Yeah.
See, it's dry. See?
Can you wet it down again?
You can wet it down, but you're going to be here till next summer.
Days, eh?
For making baskets.
Really, usually, you know, something you're going to work with, or something you're going to work with, or something that's going to be easy for you. You could make medallions. You know, especially when I make this something small, you can make a medallion. Beaded medallion. You could use beads on here. Finish it off with sweetgrass on here. Sweetgrass season should be here in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You could sweetgrass around here. You could beat this. You could beat this. You could also put porcupine quills. I heard yesterday there was porcupine quills here someplace. So, or you could make earrings, big ones, you know. I see a woman wearing these big rings around their neck, so you could put you could shove food through there, you know. So a lot of the stuff you you do. And a person asked me the other day, how can you make breeze arm pants out of this, you know? I got helpers that's going to clean up. I don't mind making a mess today. You know, powwows is a thing we go to a lot of. I never didn't go to powwows. I didn't know anything powwows until I gave back to my people. You can make armbands. Okay? Like that. My arm's too big, I made it too small, see? Okay. I'm gonna get out of the way here.
I noticed before you peeled this outer up.
Yeah.
Do you use them two pieces for different things then?
Yeah.
Or,
Whatever you do, see a lot of people back home.
Cause I never really, I've been around birch bark my whole life, but I never really got into the metal of it.
No?
Yeah, I always think, well, that's birch bark, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll
But-
see,
Yeah, this is really nice inside.
yeah, it's really nice inside. See,
Yeah.
you could, some can make it inside outward. So what I'm saying is you can make anything out of this. You know, if it's small bracelets, you could make small bracelets, you know.
And would you leave it like full like this if you wanted it stronger then?
Yeah, you make it longer. You use this way.
Yeah,
That way it's stronger.
right. Okay.
Like I said, I could, you know, if it's like this. I lost my knife already, see? Okay, see, when you can make designs out of this, you know, especially take most of this off. You can make it backwards.
Yeah, inside or outside? Or,
Yeah,
yeah.
see?
Then you use these for weaving.
Yeah,
bind
you
it
could.
together.
Yeah, you could tie them together like this. Whatever, you know, or you could just use sweetgrass inside and bind it together. Okay. And here, you know, I never really. You want to make it thinner. I got a thing there I used to make it thinner. It's all the same size when I start doing it. You gotta,
Like a strap cutter.
yeah, so you could also make a tie with this.
Now what is that?
Hi.
What kind of wood is that?
This is dyed birch.
Yeah, this is what I do. I should get a job at Walmart's. Welcome! See? You can work with this, you know, it won't break. You look pretty strong.
Once it dries, it will turn bitter though, right?
No. I harvested that last year.
Harvested that last year.
Breaking.
Right can, huh? Get a grip on it first.
Big guy.
What's your,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty strong.
Punch somebody next to you in the eye.
Now my fingers are bleeding.
okay, now, most of this I harvested last year.
I would think that it would get brittle.
Looks like Baylor's
You just soak it up again.
You just soak it up again.
Yeah.
And if your piece is dry on, you can.
It's like reed, because we've
Not just
Not with the Walmart guys.
we've weaved with reeds before, like you soak with reed.
that wet.
Why is the color different?
Because they soaked it with the clean water. They mixed that. This used to be just like wood, the same color as this. But my interns, where's my interns here? They all disappeared.
All your students, they're all that
Yeah.
way.
Is it water resistant or it's a
Yeah. People used to use this for kind. I made a 17-foot canoe that'll fit 8 people.
Do you have to use like to a certain layer or how?
No, just one layer. I made a 17-footer made out of birch bark. We had it out in Boston Harbor. We were 8 foot away from where we out there.
What did you use for ribs? Ribs in the canoe.
We were digging around reefs looking for
Or it just holds its own shape.
no, that's the way. No,
Cedar?
no, not cedar. Cedar takes absorbs too much water. It gets heavier as you go. White ash. I use white ash.
Is it insulated?
What?
Birch bark insulated?
Yeah. So years ago, people used to be buried with birch bark.
Oh, okay.
One time we were at the graveyard back home. We started digging for this veteran, and nobody was supposed to be buried there at all. So it was made for veterans only. So one day my dad says, "Go dig that grave. Go dig for Sam." We started digging. All of a sudden we came across birch bark. What's birch bark doing about 6 feet under the ground? There was a human being down on there. Perfectly good shape. Birch bark. It was all wrapped in birch bark. So. Okay. Not all at once. Race over here. Pick your birch bark.
Oh, look at here comes gifts.
Pick your birch bark.
See,
This here, we just did this morning. But there's other stuff that's going on here. We probably use the whip to get this all straightened out. Like that. So my
get your
grand.
blueberries in.
So when I was young, my grandmother, we didn't have much of anything, So if we were lucky if we had apples for Christmas, for New Year's. We used to put apples in there. Whatever we had.
Yeah.
Or sometimes we would be eating outside and put corn on them.
Yeah.
We go
I
Smith.
would try if we go to flat end, try on the flat end.
Okay, take your choice on your birch bark. There are all kinds of birch bark here. When you're looking for something, another one there. What's your nose? When it's done, it looks like this. Okay. The bottom part is I don't have nothing on the bottom because the bottom is wider than the side. So if you don't want to make a box, yeah. You chew tobacco, you could use it as a tobacco. Wait, see? And if you want to make a smaller box, then you grab one of these. See, I make this one is standing up, this one's on sideways. That gives it the strength. See, like that. I make these 12 by 12 for urns, people if they need them, I make them. And that's free, I make them for urns for free, okay? If you get cremated, if you want to get buried in this, I'll make one, okay? And every piece of this birch bark, when I cut it out, I talk to it in the language. I put the backhoe down before I go out and get birch bark in the woods. Basswood fiber, I do the same thing. So we tried getting basswood fiber Thursday, but it's not ready to come off the trees yet. Same with birch bark. By next week it should be ready to come off. If we get some hot weather. Same with basswood. So we'll be doing medicines in the morning on probably next Saturday, and we'll go harvest some birch bark. And there's a good patch of birch bark out there. Okay? You'll get a chance to use knives, bring your own knives if you have to. I only got 4 of them or 3 of them laying around, so that's all I got. I'm not a rich man. But I will show you, definitely show you how to get basswood fiber. And I'll show you how to finish it in the woods instead of bringing all that stuff in here. Okay? And also, I will put the tobacco down 2 or 3 days before. I'll talk to the trees. That's what I do. I just don't go in there one morning and say I'm going to harvest basswood. It doesn't happen. At that point in time, if we go in the woods on Saturday, maybe we should do it on Saturday first. I will show you how to harvest some medicines. Okay? I'll show you how to harvest some medicines. And all kinds of medicines out there. No such a thing as chocolate. There's not? I'll show you how to make that. Right, the gal. Right, okay. People just tell you that I want to make money off you. I'll show you a free way to do it. There's so many things that I could tell you about the woods. When I see woods, I'm at home. I feel at home. Different part of the woods, if it's here, kind of good. I'm not so home. My home's not here too much bugs here. You know. And then if it's hardwood country, too much black flies there this time of the year. You know, I like it. So this is all basswood. This is all what I use. This is what I do when I watch TV. Okay. And then I get mixed up if I'm watching hockey. Okay. So I went home and got a bunch of these today. This is what I do. And I usually put this on first because after I put this on first, I sew this together and then I get my scissors and really make everything fit, see? Right? I make everything fit, right? Nice. Take a look. So every time you work with basswood fiber, work with it when it's wet, not dry. Okay? And this wood, I usually use willow. I use this too sometimes. This really works. You know why I know it works? Okay? I used to make them this long. And I hand it to my dad. And then he would give me, and then he would grab my left hand, he would use it on me.
Pulling your sister's hair?
More than that. You know, I shot my cousin with a bow and arrow. Put an arrow right to his leg. You know, that's the longest time I spent under the bed. I spent 3 days under the bed. Because my aunt was going to kill me. See, that's how you put it on. Now, if you put it on with bark, it's just going to come off anyway. It's going to make it ugly in about a week's time. Make it solid wood like this. Same with willow, they say, oh, red. You know, I could make this red overnight. You know, I could dye this overnight. I go to take a trip to Wally World. How small thick dye can make it. How small thick dye can make Wally World. You know, I got a pan, like a roasting pan. I just roll these up. 40, 50 at a time. I put them in the roasting pan with that dye and I dye them all. Make them straight anyways if you want to work with them. Basswood. I dyed this last winter. Most of this I did last winter. It's something that, and there's a lot of stuff you could also use. Cedar fiber. You could always get cedar fiber too. Cedar fiber. There's fiber in the cedar, inside the bark. You know where I get that? It's so much easier to get when if I want it. I go to a sawmill and I ask them, can I peel a few of your cedar logs? And he said, go ahead. He doesn't know what I'm there for. I feel it. I get the fiber out of them.
Which part does it come from?
Inside the bark. We'll find out next week. I'll show you.
Okay.
So anytime you want fiber, it's in the woods. I could make a 60-pound bow and arrow in the woods.
Classes
Are you going to shoot this time?
No, you might be too dangerous then.
Just stand
You know, every time I did something wrong, or my grandmother asked me to do this, if I didn't bring back the right stuff, she would hit me. She would tell me to go back and get the right stuff. Okay? So when you're putting holes here, make sure you're working with, if you started with these two, make sure you finish with these two, okay? Because these things are gonna go like that or like that. So your hole's gotta be right on, okay? So next week, when we come back, you can bring your whatever you don't finish today, and we'll finish it up next week. I'll have all these. I'll have willow and this ready. And if you want to trade, do these instead. You can make a smaller boxes, like I said. Smaller boxes are easier to work with. Right there with the other half. Right here. You know why I did this? You know why I did this? It's not quite center, right? You know why I did that? Because if I want to put a cover on here, I'll put a cover on. And then when it's done, it's centered. Okay? You make a cover, make a bottom, make a cover. And usually it don't take too long once you get this figured out. And the reason why these are so nice is I make patterns. Okay? They call these Tibishiganan in the language. Tibishigan. Tibishigan. Tibishigan is small patterns. Tibishigan. So as a youngster, I learned how to do these, but it wasn't not that quite easy. because we used to use picker board, this and that. And then sometimes we used, and then we didn't have these fancy drills like this when I was young, so we used to use the hot wire. You know, we had a lot of fire going on all the time. So, and my grandmother had a lot of hangers, you know, those hangers, wire hangers.
Burn them out.
Yeah. And the whole house smells like birch like after a while. It smells really nice. You know. And when you light up first birch bark, if you light up first, even this year-old birch bark, there's a lot of acids in it. So when you light it could blind you. Sparks to go this way, The sparks, when you light it, it forms bubbles on here. If you light it, it forms bubbles. That's why it sparks all the time when you light it, okay? And don't use it on your chimney because it gets stuck on your chimney. Okay? This is not very...
Do you use it for fire starter?
You could use it for fire starter, but don't stand around there and look at it. And if you want fire starter today, you got all types of fire starters. And if you want, you know, like myself, I usually, like my grandmother used to say, Jabwe ton manda. Jabwe ton. Save it. There was some people that weren't fortunate enough to harvest birch bark in the wintertime, so when they made small stuff like small quilt boxes that size, we used to give like that. People weren't fortunate. All people on the reserve were that fortunate to get birch bark on their own, and we were always happy to give this small stuff away because you throw that away. The guy go pick it up. You don't know what he's doing. I'm going to make $300 out of this, right? Soak na mga pingaw shito na shito nga. So people are always ready to pick any birch bark up that's ready to each one away. They're always ready. Even the stuff that was not useful. Excuse me for a second. Manda. Bito ba doon Wiigwaas? Bito ba tsaka dig Wiigwaas? And you pull the bark off together. Bito ba doon? Gabito ba doon? Gabito ba doon? Bito ba doon? I made it workable now, see? Okay, go that part sit on there, see? It's even nicer when it's upside down like that. Side out. When you see something like this, if you're an artist, you'd be very happy to have one of these. Right?
Paint.
What?
You can make a picture.
Yeah, you could also make picture frames. Out of here, we could do that Saturday too. If you come in or tomorrow, if you're coming tomorrow, we could start making picture frames here. This would be very handy stuff to make picture frames. Right? If you want to make a picture frame 20 inches by 10, you can make one. Right? These are very handy to make picture frames. If you want something to really show who's the boss in the house, you make a picture frame of it. Like that. Right?
Wow.
Like that. And usually color brings it out. See, like this. Now, you could get any color you want over at Walmart's. Okay, I'm advertising for Walmart's now. They should pay me for this. Okay, they got red, blue, white. You could dye this any color you want, right? Okay. It looks same on both sides. The only difference is this is standing up, this is on sideways. Okay, that's the only difference. Take a look. You might decide to do someday. Come here and teach them under this here like once. Maybe you might come and take my place Saturday. Pretty neat, ain't it?
It's very good, and it cleared my ear.
You know what these boxes are for?
You have a theater nearby?
You know toilet tank covers in the washroom? People are always putting stuff on there, right? Right? So this is the good size for the toilet tank. Okay? The wider ones, this here, it's just the bottom. Okay? For every piece here, you could, if I mix them up, you could probably figure out where that came from just by looking at the holes. This one came like that. Mixe! Mixe! And if you really want this kind of wood, hardwoods country. This is where you get a lot of this. If you want to get willow, go in the open country where it's wet. You get a lot of willow there. Okay? Then, this will just bit. That's why my dad used it on. Okay. That is usable again. That's what fiber. Scroll up, check out, and I'll get it out of there and I'll dry it up again. It'll be usable again next week. Okay? And tomorrow, if you want to come back, we'll get, if anybody wants to start on that, they'll be here tomorrow. But they're a little harder to work with. But I could put one together in about a couple hours. They're already done anyways.
Sunday school.
And boxes, if you're not finished with your boxes, I'm going to go get some of these tonight. This. I'll get a lot of these tonight. These are free. And they smell good. You don't like my feet?
No, really?
Yeah, see?
So happy.
Yeah, that's like my feet, I said.
Oh.
Okay. So there's different ways to make dye. There's different ways to make dye in the woods. You can make dye any color you want, okay? But we won't get into that because it took me a lot of years to figure that one out. Okay? Now, we were supposed to be done at 4 o'clock, right? Let's get back to work.
Owe te spejit ma il kçi bi noti zi. Çikat zi ge.